Good morning to all the participants. Today is the last session of our 7-day webinar series, and this session is exclusively for our students, that is for third year, final year, and MV students who are going to be future civil engineers. And the topic is modern practices in construction, that is, what are all the practices will be handled by the civil engineers in future. That is the session of this last session. And I want to inform all the participants that all the participants will be getting the certificate. We had a lot of participants, that is nearly each and every session we had 200, around 200, and few of the session we crossed more than 270. So it takes a few days, 1 or 2 days, and maybe 3 days also, for segregating and corrections, name corrections, all those things we have to do it. So kindly bear for few more days, and we will be giving the certificates. We will be through the email, e-copy, e-certificates to all of you. Thank you. I think it's 4 o'clock and 5 minutes, so we will start the session. Today our guest is Mr. Vishnu Rangasamy, and he is a very young and energetic youth who is practicing civil engineering after finishing his UG degree, and he is handling a lot of newcomers in his site as a colleague, and he is giving a lot of ideas for the juniors who are all participating in the interviews and in the site as engineers. And Mr. Vishnu sir is having a skill in the modern practices and how it is going on, the actual thing happening in the construction field, from small construction as well as from a little bit larger stories, multi-story buildings and commercial complexes. I think this session will be very wide and deep for the students. I think so. The students may not have the exposure to the field, how the field will be, and how the handling of materials, handling of subordinates, workers, everything. So that this particular session will be very, very nice. I welcome our guest, Mr. Vishnu, for this session. I welcome you, sir.
Yes. Sir, am I audible?
Yes, sir, it is audible, sir.
Okay. Sir, I said full screen, sir.
Yes, sir, it is full screen.
Okay, sir.
Shall we start, sir?
Yes, sir. Shall I proceed, sir?
Yes, sir, of course.
Shall I proceed in Tamil?
If it is possible in English, it will be better, sir, because a lot of other state participants are there. I think
Okay.
simple English can understandable.
Okay, sir. Let me try something. Okay. So good evening, students. Today we will be seeing about the modern practices in construction. So let me introduce myself. I'm Vishnu Rangasamy from Tirupur, known as Textile Hub of Tamil Nadu. So today we will be outlining what we will be outlining this presentation is. So what is the need for modern practices? What is the need? So we will be dealing with some of the real-time examples that I have come across. Then what are the modern practices? Then what are the future world of construction deals with? So what is the need for modern practices? First, the time frame of the construction. So you need to complete the construction within the time frame. So many projects that we come across in our daily life, the client gives us a time frame like 6 months. So we will be dealing with some of the examples in the next slide. So next, what is the need for modern practices is the project cost and estimation. So if we estimate a project for around 10 to 15 crores, if we use the modern practices like modern equipments, modern machineries, so the project cost will be reduced to some extent so that it will be converted as the profit for us as a engineer. Next, deviation in the supply and demand. So like using the chemicals, you can properties of concrete. So that if there is a deviation in supply and demand in site, these modern practices can be used. Next, efficiency and the availability of labor. So in our day-to-day life, we come across the word corona. So you will be able to see that all the North Indian laborers who were working in Tamil Nadu are moving toward their states. So it will be 2 to 3 months gap for their return. So you cannot wait for them to complete the projects. So there is none other than next, environmental conditions. The varying environmental conditions, like if you are using a concrete in an external environment like outer concrete, if it rains, then you must opt some of the modern practices like use of chemicals so that to fasten the setting time of concrete. Next, nature of work. If you are working in the outer surface in the 15th floor, so you must have some safety equipments. If labor is not allowed in those, some laborers will not be able to work, or they are not ready to work in such conditions. If you are fabricating something in the 15th floor, some laborers will not be ready to work in such situations. Then high-tech equipments are the only options that you can go for. So I'll be giving you some 5 examples that I have come across. So first example is, so this is the situation where our clients request us, or these are the situations we take the project. So 2 international monetary schools were located within 2 kilometer surroundings. So let us assume. So there is an 2 different Montessori schools. So one of our client comes to us in a situation of completing a block within 5 months, so that he can get the admission. He can get the admission for the next academic year. So he is running a school. So I have given the project details, like it's worth us 45 crores. So the total area is 4 floors, and each floor is around 15,000 square feet. So you have only 5 months. So after 5 months, you need to apply for the academic valuation inspection of the building, so that they give a permission to for the students to enter in and they can learn something. So nearby school has already started their project 3 months prior. And remember that the point of admission, so their net profit, it is around 4 to 5 crores per month. Per year. So it is an international monetary school. Their fees is around 2.5 lakhs per year. So it is a new building. So this is the situation where our client comes from. So we need to complete the whole project, 45 crores worth project. You need to complete within 5 months. So you cannot go for conventional construction method to complete this project. So next, so I will list the examples. Next, I will propose some of the solutions what we have done in the site. Next up, so garment, Tripur is the hub of textile. So they want us to complete the projects within a fixed time so that they can start the production and they can come with some of the more profits. Like so, let me discuss the example too. So the garment company needs a protection unit of around 60,000 square feet, that is 2 floors, within a time frame of just 60,000 square feet plus 2 floors within a time frame of 100 days. So because they have obtained an order, so usually during Christmas, they have the clients, that garment company has a clients from England and US. So usually for them, there was an order of 700 crores for Christmas. It was given for us in the month of May. So you have only 100 days to complete the project. So we did. I'll post the solutions at the other end of the PPT. So this is the second example where we need to complete the project within 100 days. So see, you cannot complete 60,000 square feet, that is 2-floor building, within 100 days when we are following a conventional method of construction, like we are raising the footing column, then we are going for the slab. So this is the third example, like commercial complex. So it is a 5-story building, wishes to have a showcase balcony. So all of you know that showcase balcony, where some of the they can showcase their products in the front, like a roadside. They can showcase it is a cantilever slab where they can keep some of their products. Those who are walking on the road, they can see that what is inside the showroom. So without disturbing the customers, we need to complete that within 20 days. It is in 5 floors. Each floor, it is around 120 square feet. That is 12 by 10. So we use 12 by 10. It must be completed within 20 days without disturbing. Since it is in commercial complex, you must not disturb the customers who are coming inside. So the next example is, fourth example is, knitting unit wants to complete the project within 60 days with the area of 30,000 square feet with the demand of product. So it is a storage unit where they brought some products from the market. They want to store. So you cannot store some other product somewhere, and when it is needed, you cannot bring in. So the transportation cost becomes so anyway you are going to complete. You are doing the knitting unit there. If you complete within 60 days, the transportation cost will be reduced. So note that the ground floor, we did this project with the ground floor is concrete and first floor is roofing sheet. So next, this is a simple project, building near HT transmission line. It is a current transmitting unit. So the government permits only 30 feet building near the transmission lines. So he is an knitting owner. So we designed this as basement height is 2 feet, first floor 12.5 feet, second floor is 12.5 feet, and parapet that is nearly 30 feet. So you cannot go more than that. So in this, the main problem is that, so if 12.5 feet, it is the inner dimension, it is an inner clear space, right? You cannot have the beams. If the provision of beams, it will the space between the floor and the roof gets reduced. So what is the solution for this kind of problems? We will be dealing in the next slide. So you can the main problem with this example 5 is that you cannot have the beams. So if you have the beams, the space between the floor and the roof gets reduced. You cannot do false ceiling or any other electrical items. So that is the main problem. Next, so what are the modern practices, or what are the practices that we are following in our day-to-day life in this construction is, so precast structure, use of flat slabs, use of mezzanine floorings, like integrated use of BIM, that is building information modeling, before the project, and it will be simultaneously coordinating with us while we are proceeding the projects. Next, drone, that is the personal assistant. So advanced machineries for day-to-day work that will be replacing some of the unskilled labors and creating a huge employment for skilled and educated persons. So as you know, and you have already studied something about precast structures. It is a construction product that is casted into mold, cured under controlled conditions. You are curing it inside the laboratories or in a controlled environment, transporting the site and erected in place. So the results reveals that the precast structure is more strong than inside that is casted in the site members. So interesting to note that precast are 20% cheaper. So we have done it, and we have attended up to 12% profit. So results show that it may be 20% cheaper than conventional, but inside we have obtained up to 12 to 15%. So and nearly 16 to 18 are achieved at site. So it is just in theoretical paper, but we have achieved up to 12%. So these are the images showing that how we install that precast member in the site. So first picture shows that installation of precast walls, and the second shows installation of precast walls. So what are the advantages? Like faster construction, you can have a good quality. It can be tested in the controlled conditions like NDT, non-destructive testing. If there is any crack, like something like that, then it is money saving. As I told in the previous slide, that 12 to 15% efficiency we are getting that. Next, thermal efficiency. Next, low maintenance. So see, like in precast structure, we are using the most advanced and recycled products for an outer surface. So inside, for casting, we use some of the recycled products, and inside that we use concrete as a main member. So we achieved a thermal efficiency. We can apply waterproofing chemicals for dampness. So these are the advantages of precast structure. So if there is any doubt, you can stop me in between. So what are the types of precast structures that we cast in the controlled environmental conditions or in the factories? Like we have on precast slab, we can have on precast beams like T-beams, or in concealed, even we use concealed beams for elevation work. Next, precast columns, even staircases are nowadays available. Precast walls, as I've shown in the previous slide. Next, here are some of the YouTube links for references. Like, so you know that Chennai Silks is one of the leading garment industry in the market. Chennai Silks, their branch in Tirupur did this precast structure. They completed it within 3 months. It is a 4-floor building. They have completed within 3 months with pre-orders to Diwali sale. I think so. It was done in 2011. So in Tirupur, near old bus stand, they completed it within 3 months frame. So these are the video links that explains the process of protection and erection of precast structures in detail. So you'll be having all the what are the process that are involved in protection as well as erection of the precast structure. Next, mezzanine flooring. So this is the most advanced or developing field in construction. So nowadays industries are building large area buildings, but they doesn't want to provide a roof concrete. So they want a pre-engineered buildings like PEB buildings. So where you have an engineered steel structures. So column, it is made up of steel angles. Roof, it is made up of steel sheets, galvanized sheets with thermal efficiencies, insulation. Sorry. So mainly it consists of raising the columns. It may be in steel or concrete, but main beams and the purlins are made up of, as you see in the second image, the purlins and the steel beams are fabricated in steel. Next to that, you have a layer. You can see that orange color. You have a sheet over which you pour a concrete that is cured for within 14 days. So first, usually this mezzanine flooring, what we will do in Tirupur, like if you want to, as I said before, the 60,000 square feet building. So it was in it was a 2-story building. So we raised the columns. So the inner space, that is inside the building, the roof height was around 30 feet. So 30 feet. So we raised the columns. We did the roofing sheet. It is an pre-engineered buildings. We completed the roofing next. While doing the interior works, we started for like this third image and fourth image, we had some mezzanine flooring where it is rolls of cloth that can be processed for the clothes. So the client wants these kinds of technologies to be implemented so that he can produce more goods within a short time. So if we are completing, he doesn't want to miss the order with the reference of civil engineers. So we are more advanced. We are using most. We are using most advanced. Or these are the practices that are commonly employed nowadays for faster construction. So these are the real-time examples. So first one, it is made up of clothing section. Second one, it is an empty room. So third one, it can be, so we did, so the inner space was around 30 feet. So we divided into a 2 floor, ground floor and first floor. So each roof was around 15 feet height. So if you want more height, more floors, you can even go for up to 40 to 50 feet. So you must be designing the steel structures, that is pre-engineered buildings to that extent, so that it can withhold that 40 feet height of roofing sheets and the purlins, the gridders that you use in that pre-engineered buildings. So these are the real-time examples. So next to that, building information modeling. So what is this building information modeling? So as I've seen the browser, many of you have used to already have learned something about building information modeling. So it is a tool to efficiently plan, design, construct, and manage the buildings and infrastructures. Like we used AutoCAD. There are so many products for planning, like analyzing and designing. You use StatPro, eTabs. Next, 3D modeling, you use Revit, 3ds Max, SketchUp. For planning Primavera, MS projects, there are so much softwares that are available. So these are the most commonly used. But in one of our projects, we used, it was around a 40 acre of land. So we need to, there were so many undulations. So we must design the sewer line. It was in block areas that is individually sold for individual villas. Like it was around 40 acres. So there was many undulations. So we used those two softwares, OpenFlow from WaterCAD. Those OpenFlow WaterCAD and Severisms, both were developed by Bentley. That is the software agency that develops such softwares. So note that StatPro was also designed by this Bentley. So it is an hydraulic and water quality modeling application for water distribution lines for large areas. So it was as I told you before, it was an 40-acre land. So you cannot provide, you cannot have a single outlet of water from that whole 40 acres of land. So we used the software to have, then we used a 3D camera where you can take instantaneous surveys where there are undulations. So what is the highest point of the land? What is the lowest point of land? So if rain comes, if there is a heavy drainage, so what place this whole water will go and store. So like this, we did a survey using 3D cameras. It is the most advanced technique which we are practicing in our day-to-day life that can be used. So we brought it from Bangalore. So 40 acres where we surveyed within around, it was took 12 days to complete the project. So using the softwares, we were able to design, like see, nowadays today, the electricity lines, the EV lines, the network, the internet cables, the optical fibers, the sewer lines, the inlet gas lines are all underground. So you cannot see on each pole the current poles that will be protruding in the streets. So it is a well-designed plot, individual villas, where a huge demand which is available for that area. So we use this advanced softwares to design. So where we can model those lands for a proper drainage for the water that is coming in and the water that is going out. So what are the advantages of BIM? So it is a better collaboration and communication. So you can design prior, you can design during the project, you can get the best outcome of the project using this BIM. So it is a model-based cost estimation. So you can develop a model within the software so that you can get the best and the exact quantities of materials that are used in the projects. Like see in Revit, you can prepare a report about how much quantity of concrete that is being used in this whole project. Like so nowadays, if the client comes to us with an idea of building a building, so they are not going for an square feet rate buildings. They are going for an unit rate. So they will have an project engineer on their own behalf, where they develop a full project estimate. Like if you're doing this project, this much of concrete will be used, this much square feet centering and shuttering that will be used. So this much steel will be used. You must be as we will be giving and unit based. So what is the concrete that can be, what is the price of the concrete that we are willing to provide? So in such conditions, this building information modeling, so you can get the exact amount of concrete square feet of centering steel structures. So these exact quantities can be obtained from this building information modeling. So pre-construction project evaluation, that is like 3D views that are developed in 3ds Max like SketchUp. Next, improved coordination and class detection. As project management, you can detect where the class is going to be, where you are, how to coordinate. So it can be prior informed to us. Next, reduced cost and mitigated risk. So if we are planning properly, it will reduce the cost of the project. Next, the risk. So improved scheduling and sequencing, you can improve the scheduling day by day, thereby following the progress of the project. Next, increased protectivity and prefabrication. So like you can increase the protectivity. Next, safer construction sites. Like nowadays, IoT of things, IoT, Internet of Things, is doing a huge impact in this construction site. So still we are in a developing stage. The foreign countries are using this to some extent. They have reached around 20 to 35%, where IoT of things is playing a huge role. And construction site accidents, like Internet of Things. So what has you have already know something about Internet of Things? Let me give a simple idea. A network of internet connected objects able to collect and exchange the informations. So like Internet of Things, if you are imagine it is in 40-acre campus, it is in 40-acre land. So you cannot go to and fro. You'll be constructing a building in the entrance. To some extent, there may be a distance between the buildings, so you cannot go to and fro. So like if there is an internet connected, so like many construction companies have individual apps, individual applications in their phones. Many construction companies are having an individual, they self-developed apps, so that they can have their information, like so what is in the site, like material management, so activity management, what is the risk that is going to happen in the projects. So they will be sharing each other, so that the MD who is sitting in the office can examine and operate. They can collaborate with each other, so that they can update the photos, what is going in the site. So next, I will be dealing with the drones. That is, we are using the drones in day-to-day life activities, like to have an aerial view. It will take photos, it will take videos, so that the MD who is sitting, MD, even the client who is sitting in the office, will be able to see what is happening inside the site. So where you are batching the concrete, so what amount of work is done today, what even the labor attendance nowadays are taken through drones. So Internet of Things, IoT, it is playing a major role. So in future, it will be one of the most important field in construction, where a huge investment is going on. Next, IoT in construction, like it will be we are able to manage the materials, labor availability and demand. So you cannot have so like since this corona is getting day by day worse, so many of the North Indians are going to their own state. So in such situations, you must be able to manage the labor between, if MD has 2 to 3 sites, like he is having 20 to 30 sites. So you can share the informations between those sites, where there is a labor demand, where there is a labor surplus. You can manage between them things without visiting the site. So you can have a test results Next, concrete batching unit. So at what time is it batched within the site? So what is the inspection status? What is the payment status? So it is the safety of the labor. These are all then can be coordinated in this IoT of things. So like it is a chart like showing how the IoT of things gonna happen. Like contractor B. So we will be having a group like a managing director, project manager, design engineer. We will be discussing about what is going in the project. Like what we will be discussing, the progress, the quality, what is the payment, like payment between the contractor and the client, contractor and the suppliers of materials, Next, what are the working methods that we are ensuring, we are looking after inside the site? Safety of the labors that we will be discussing in this IoT of things. So the contractor and the client, what they always look for is the project as progress, quality, and payment. Their main motto is to balance with these 3 points. Like nowadays, the client also have an engineer called as client engineer, client project manager, quantity surveyor, quality surveyor. So they'll be looking after whether the project is going correctly. So since they are investing a huge amount, so they have a few professionals in engineering, so that the progress, the quality are going after in a correct mode. They will check and report it to their client in day-to-day premises. So evolution of cementitious chemicals. So it is one of the unnoticed branch of engineering in India, in which India is in capital market taking around 2,600 million US dollars. That is approximately 20,000 crores. Imagine that in construction chemicals and market of 20,000 crores is available. So like what is the chemicals that are used? So admixtures for mortars, concrete, insecticide, termite resistance. It is an hottest business in construction, evolving in waterproofing, epoxy grouting, epoxy flooring, termite treatment, crack-free renovations. Look, a huge amount of chemical that is required in case if you are renovating a structure. So there is a vast application for renovation, vast application of chemicals in renovation. Next, like bonding agents, if you are cutting a slab, if there are a number of bonding agents available in the market for joining the old and the new concrete. There is a vast chemical applications. Like, so what are the chemicals that we use as explained in the previous slide? Waterproofing, termite treatment, concrete admixtures, curing chemicals. Nowadays, due to the scarcity of water, curing chemicals are added to the concrete so that it requires less amount of water during curing. Next, coloring chemicals, mortar chemicals, flooring chemicals, bonding admixtures. Like coloring chemicals, if you are requiring a colored plastic, like red color, like gray color, you can go for a coloring chemical like red oxide that we use in olden days, like red oxide, black oxide. So numerous chemicals are available in the market. So these are the brands that are providing a number of construction chemicals. So you may be familiar with the Dr. Fixit. So Force Rock mapping, they are investing a huge amount in even research. So what are the areas of application? Water heat tank, rainwater harvesting areas. Like if you are having a 40 acres, then there must be some of the. So in those days they were constructing where there is a sunken. They'll be developing wells, bore wells. So nowadays they are developing and rainwater harvesting areas. So big industrial storage areas. If you are storing some cloths, if there is a dampness, it will affect the quality of the cloth. So big industrial areas are nowadays going for, and we are offering water treatment. So that is, it will reduce the dampness or even it will stop the dampness. So prefabricated structures like precast structures, we are going for waterproofing. But then inside the control conditions, we are applying both chemicals as well as waterproofing. So these, what are the layers? Like if you have a concrete, you can mix a concrete chemical for concrete. Next, crack. Next, you may be coat and waterproofing chemical over that. You may have a bitumen sheet over that. If you are nowadays, most people like let me say in Tamil this. தண்ணி லீக் ஆனா வாட்டர் ப்ரூஃபிங் பண்ணீங்களாம் அப்படின்னு காலம் போய் தண்ணி லீக் ஆக கூடாது, அதனால வாட்டர் ப்ரூஃபிங் பண்ணுங்க அப்படின்னு சொல்ற அளவுக்கு இப்ப கிளைண்ட் வந்துட்டாங்க. So this is the current situation of the client who's building new structures, small structures. If you are going for a budget house, so they no need for taking they need not take the risk of in this like application like waterproofing. So we did a renovation work. It was around 6 floors. It is an apartment building. So in 3rd floor and 4th floor, it was completely dampness. In the ceiling, it was completely damp. So we don't know where the water leaks from. So at last we found that it was the drain pipes that were left in the sunken areas that were connected to the main slab. It must be connected to the drain pipe. So it must be connected to the major drain pipe. So instead, they connected to the main slab. So it complete you do not have an outlet for that. So you do not have an inlet for that. So we So we had no idea about thinking of the drain pipes. So at last we found that it took around 2 to 3 months. So we completely removed the tile. We completely removed the mortar that was laid, that was used for laying the tiles. So it took around. It is a waste of time. Like if there is an if you are properly designing those drain pipes and if you are going for an waterproofing, then there is no need of fear in the future. So drones, as I already told that drones is playing a major role. Like you can track the progress of the work. So an MD will be sitting in that room. A person who is operating the drone will have an overall site view. If an owner calls, he will have an overall site view. So he will be sitting in the office. He will be having a live video of what is taking place in and around the site. So like the project managers, they will track the progress. So what is the time? What is the schedule? Have they completed the work? So if it is not completed, he may develop a new plan for tomorrow. So improves the safety measures of the working site as well as labor. Like if there is any accident prone zones, it may be cleared off within time. If it will directly come to the point of owner or the client, and we will be receiving a direct information or a direct order to close that or to maintain those in site. Next, management of collected informations, like material maintenance. So what is the labor that is having, if the labor is supplies or if the labor is in demand, so you can manage those informations. So management of collected informations, prevention of open area theft. So I would like to share some site experience. So there was an store room. So we had around 1.5 lakhs sanitary wares, like fittings of the pipe sum. So we don't know who stole that. So we had a 2 day site leave. So we were officially asked to close the site. So we had only 3 to 4 securities. He cannot look after the whole area. So there wasn't theft. The total worth was around 1.5 lakhs. We don't know who stole it. We cannot install CCTV cameras since it is a large area. You cannot run an electrical lines up. So if the security is trained to operate the drones, he can sit in place and he can control who's looking to and fro in those open areas. So like this is one of the real-time examples of drones. Next, delivering of project drawings that we used to do. The site engineers used to play with this, like delivering the project drawings and reports within minutes. If it is a vast area, if there will be an office in the entrance where you have a printer machine where we will be having a renown, that is redrawn drawings. We cannot come to and fro to collect those drawings. So we use this drones. We have a sellotape to tie to it. We can deliver the project drawings and reports within minutes. So on-site information, like this is the overview of the project. So this is not our site. So let me tell in advance. So on-site inspection, so report preparation, material stock availability, labor attendance, security purpose. You can have an aerial view of what is happening inside and around the site. So these are the top drone manufacturers. All the first 3 are from China. So they have a huge investment in drones and technology-driven products. Next. So evolution of missions. So from this, we will be having some examples of, so day to day, what are the missions we are using. Like, so first one, let me have a boom placer. That is boom placer where concrete, like, so you can have, I do not have an image for this. If you can search for it, like boom placer. If our site is completely surrounded by industrial buildings, so if you are not able to store the materials on site, or you cannot convey the concrete to the site, so you can use this boom placer. So consists of a boom extension, and we can rotate around 360 degrees, and it can extend up to the height of 150 meters, that is around 500 feet. Height up to 500 feet and length up to 72 meters, that is 230 feet. So nowadays, what we use that is available in Coimbatore and around the cities, it is around 200 feet height, and it can go for a length of around 100 feet. So it is highly effective in mass concreting inside the cities. So likewise, as I told before, if our site is completely surrounded by buildings, you cannot store the construction materials in the site, or even if you cannot drive the concrete batching plant to that site, if you have a very small short roads, so you can use this boom placer for placing the concretes. It is highly useful in case of shear walls, vertical water concrete tanks. So likewise, you can see in the picture. So it is around. So we had a practical experience of concreting those shear walls as well as vertical concrete rods. So it is around the height of 10 feet. So it was thickness of around 7 feet, 7 inches. Sorry. So if you are placing, if you do manually, it will take more time. If you have a boom placer, you will have around only 1%. Hello. Okay. So you will have 1% in the batching plant. You will have 1% in the boom placer operation. You will have 2 to 3% in concreting place. So around 4 to 5% or 4 to 5% is enough in concreting those mass structures. Next, useful, as I told before, in water tanks, walls, and shear walls concreting. It is one of the major advantages, but it is expensive in small projects. Let me tell you to that. So the use of tower cranes, mobile cranes, canty gritters. So tower cranes and mobile cranes are gaining popularity nowadays. For let me say you that what is the cost. So tower crane cost around 60 lakhs, 60 to 65 lakhs if you buy a new thing. And installation cost around 2.5 lakhs if you are installing a new unit. But if you go for a rental, like we have a timed projects, so we must complete the project within 5 to 6 months. They are giving it for a rental. So what is the rental amount we need to give us for 3 months? It is a periodical reference. So for 3 months, the rental is around 2.5 lakhs, and the installation is around 90,000 to 120,000 installation charges. So I'll say you that these tower cranes, mobile cranes, and canty gritters, they are used for transferring or transporting the material inside the site or to and within the site zone. So if you're going for prefabricated structure, precast, pre-engineered buildings, these tower cranes and mobile cranes are one of the most important aspect you must consider while starting the project. So even canty gritters, but canty gritters are it is less preferable when compared to tower cranes and mobile cranes. If it is a big project, you can go for, if it has a day-to-day requirement, you can go for a tower crane. If you have a periodical requirement, you can go for a mobile crane where it will complete its process and it will leave the site. So transportation of materials to and fro for the project. So study shows that these tower cranes reduce the cost of transporting the material within the site up to 1.5% of the total project worth. So mobile cranes can be used for medium project, as I said before. It can be used for a medium budget project and space projects. If you are having less space, you cannot erect these tower cranes. So you can go for a mobile crane. So canty gritters are being used in tying the rebars. Let me show you the examples of tying the rebars. So like in industrial areas, even the flooring part has a rebar. Like the flooring part even has an steel reinforcement, like 1 bar 1. Since we are placing the heavy machineries and it has to absorb the vibrations that is produced by the machineries, the flooring even consists of reinforcement like slabs. So if these canty gritters are used for tying those rebars, that is binding those reinforcement. Advanced robots are used for transportation within the site. I'll show you some of the images at the back end of the slide. So these are the applications. These are the applications, or what are the modern machineries that we are using in day-to-day lives. So like if there is a big project, even you can set a batching plant within the site. All you need is 2,500 to 3,000 square feet area for setting such a small concrete batching plant. So the second image shows that you can even cast a big column that is up to 10 feet height within a short span. Like if you pour this concrete, you do not need any manual labor for putting the concrete like vibration. It will do both the works. Like it will batch the concrete, it will do the vibration. So these are some of the modern technology and units that are being used in day-to-day construction works. Next, steel fabrication. So nowadays, in pre-engineered structures, all the engineering structures are prefabricated in the factory itself. Like if you are going for an pre-engineered buildings, all the girders, purlins, steel structures, all it will be done in the factory itself. It will be transported to the site, it will be erected, and the process will be complete. So it will take around, so as we have done, so it took around 40 days to complete the project. That is 60,000 square feet building. It took only 40 days. That is the superstructure took only 40 days to complete. So when we are starting the project, we will be like, let me go to the next slide. So this is the application of robotics and the technologies in casting or getting ready the materials that has to be fabricated at the site. Like you can have an girders, plate. You may see this steel beams that are being fabricated. Welding happens. So these are as I've told you before, the last image shows you that application of can-take girders in rebarring, that is tying the rods together. So the first image shows that shear wall. So these are the most advanced that we may not use now, but the future it is lending help from those machineries. So the second image shows the rebar, that is tying the rebar. So last image shows that the erection of can-take girders. So can-take girders are used, even tower cranes will be used for transporting the steel to next floor. If you are concreting for the third floor, fourth floor, even imagine if you are concreting for the 15th floor. So these tower cranes, mobile cranes will be shifting those rods to those floors. So these are some of the small tools that we come across in a day-to-day life, like steel cutter. So nowadays, all the even structural engineering, the drawings like beams, what we cast is like site. So all are completely fabricated within the sites. So normal steel rod, it is around 40 feet. So if the structural drawing allows you without any gap, like 60 feet rod is required for those beams, we can order in the steel batching plant, steel manufacturing unit. So 60, they are readily available. They are ready to help us in building those structures. If you you do not have in steel fabricators like the workers who are doing steel works, so we may not require them for cutting the rods in the site. So if you give the structural drawing to those factory owners, they will be completely getting ready what is the length of the rod, what is the ring size, so what are the shear wall dimensions, what is the cross rod, what is the chair rod, all will be fabricated in the factory itself. You will be getting ready within the site within a short span of time. Like they are using huge types of machineries, advanced machineries. Like the first image, it is in steel cutter. Second image shows that it is in bar bending machine. So third image is in hand rebar machine, hand tying machine. So it cost around, the first machine cost around 60 to 75,000. So first machine cost around 1.5 lakhs. Second machine, it is also around 1,30,000. The last machine cost around 60,000 rupees. So when you compare the efficiency between the human as well as the machineries, so this rebar tying machine, the last machine shown in the figure, it will tie for a minute. It will tie around 40 ties. But in human, normal human labor, he will tie only 20 to 30 rebars. So for a minute, it varies. Like if you go for a huge projects, if you are going for a rebar tying for flooring for around 60 to 70,000 square feet, so it will take more time. It will lend more huge amount of labor. So if you are going for the advanced machineries, it will save time as well as the monetary issues. So this one of the most advanced mission or the most advanced mission. So self flooring missions, like if you are going for a normal flooring, like a mortar, plain mortar, or even tiles, laying of mortar, so these machines are used for self leveling. So it will, if you the only process that you have to do is that you must make the sprit correct. So what is a sprit level? What we do in the surveying equipments, the main purpose or the only way we need to do is that we must make that sprit level in a constant or in a correct level. So once it is done, so if you start the mission, you have a remote control where, so these types of missions do the efficiency up to for 1 hour. So it is an hourly basis. For 1 hour, it will do the flooring up to 200 to 300 square feet. So it is highly efficient when compared to the human labor. So likewise, so the efficiency will be maintained throughout the day. So when compared to the human beings, so in morning they will be very active. So while going for the lunch, they will be somehow down. So evening, little bit. So in case of those machines, they will have a constant efficiency. You can calculate to some extent what is the progress of the project. So first one and second one shows that these are the self-leveling flooring machines. So nowadays, granite and marble can be has like CNC machines. If you have a design, those grooves that can be prefabricated, that can be done pre, or like if you insect what is the design that has to be done in the granite, like what are the grooves, U grooves, B grooves, what are there may be a different types of designs in the granites. You may even insert a dark strip inside a white marble. So you can do some designing works in those advanced technologies. So CAD design, if you we must insert the CAD design. Next to that, this laser cutting. So mainly nowadays, granite mainly deals with water jet cutting. So because as we know that marble is much soft, so we are going for a water jet. Next, completing after that, completing overall process, we may go for a machine polishing, so that it requires less time. Instead of after erection of granite in the site, if you go for a polishing, it will take human labor. Human polishing is the only option. But if it is inside the factories, it may be machine polishing. So these are some of the techniques that are using today. So special art painting. So likewise, we used this as I said in the example one. So in that school, the corridors and the Montessori LKG, UKG, that is standard classes, up to 6 feet, they need a normal painting. So when we prefer artists, so they do not have such efficiencies to do that, and we had very less time. So we cannot opt for the artists, like the painters who do artist works. So we cannot go for a manual labor within the short span of time. So we adopted, we brought the machine from Navi Mumbai. So it cost around 75,000 rupees per unit, and we brought also the human labor who can deal with those. So if the only thing we need to do that, we must import, or we must give the image that must be drawn on the walls and the corridors. Next to that, what is the colors that has to be filled inside those drawings. So it all must be pre-installed or pre-recorded. Like it must be coded within the software. So once it starts drawing, it will be it is highly efficient when compared to that of the manual artist. So like Scribit is one of Scribit. It is a company name. So it is one of the most important as well as advanced robotics that company that is involved in designing such robots for special art drawings. So we used it in those schools inside the walls up to 6 feet. We have done this. Next, the 3D printing robots in interiors. As you foreign countries are building buildings in 3Ds using concrete as well as the construction products. So we are in the level of doing interior 3D printing, like as you shown before. So we will be constructing the column in the concrete structures. After completing those concrete structures, so those elevation columns can be designed using those, like what is done in the top and the bottom level of the designing bus, that can be done using this 3D printing robots. So like artist 3D interior crafting can be done using these 3D printing robots. Like even walls can be used. Walls, textures that are done over the walls, that can be even used in those 3D printings. So interior designs like fall ceiling, texture, if you want to go for the image shows that it is done for leaves. So nowadays they are even using for the like God Geodesic structures can also be done using this 3D structures. Like if you want to do some Vinayagar or Murugar, so you can use this 3D printing technology in the walls. So CNC, that is CNC laser cutting, or they are using those in the doors, main door, teak wood doors. So these 3D printing, it is can be done using putty, or using those putties, or like fall sealing. It can be done using this 3D robots. Next to this sustainability and green building, it is gaining. This is one of the field that is gaining more and more more and more demand in this current. So because, so government is going to give a huge amount of funding. Like next, reduction in the taxes. So what we pay, what the contractors pay. If you are going for a green building, after we achieve those, what are the parameters that are given by the government as well as the engineers as well as the consultants, if we have achieved, so they will be providing, they will be showing you some cutoff in those taxes that you pay to the government of completing the projects. So it will always also reduce the construction cost. So it will generate a number of renewable energy sources like solar, so water. You have a very fine ventilation in those green buildings and sustain. Then you can have a healthy living. As mentioned earlier, this there will be always an efficiency of water as well as electricity that is being used inside those green buildings. So it is also one of the modern practices that we are coming across in day-to-day life. Even the client wants us to build a green buildings. If there is a green building, as I told you before, government also funds you, and it will also cut off some of the taxes that we are paying. So those two are the main parameters. Those two are some of the main parameters that makes the client to go for a sustainable and green buildings. So these are some of the future construction ideologies. Like if you're going for apartment buildings, so we are also planning for a modular construction where you will have some of the modules. Like you will have a separate bedroom, or you even it is a small room around 2,000 square feet. So you have those small modules. That is what we call that as room. It will be called as modules. It can be prefabricated. So even some of them are constructing now. So modular construction. Next, thin joint masonry. So it is the best example for this thin joint masonry is the Renocon block that we are using into day-to-day life. So even we are using the mortar for the paste that comes along with the Renocon. So due to the strength parameters, so thin joint masonry is also the development of concrete construction chemicals has led some information innovative concepts for thin masonry joints. So the humanoid robots, these robots, due to the human labor, lagging human labor, the humanoid robots is gaining most popular in transporting the building materials. Like so, this it is developed in Japan, where it can transport plywood, cardboard, even the granite, heavy equipments that can be that like they sorry. So like this, these humanoid robots are gaining major importance in those construction fields. So due to the lag of human labor. So the image shows that this image. So this company is developing the humanoid robots that can be employed in the construction company for transporting plywood, granite, then heavy equipments, heavy building construction materials. So these are some of the future construction ideologies. So this is time is that inequalities. Sir, Is there any queries?
Sir, good evening, sir.
Sir, good evening.
Sir, actually, if we are investing, sir, or the initial cost which we have to spend before the starting of the construction, sir.
Yes, sir.
And according to the current situation of our industry, whether you think the upcoming investors or the stakeholders will invest this much in our industry, sir?
Sure, sir. Sir, in Tirupur, so they are mainly attributed, sir, I can say in Tamil.
Yes, you can tell, sir. எனக்கு தமிழ் புரியும் சொல்லுங்க.
சார் இப்போ வந்து திருப்பூர்ல வந்து they are mainly concentrating towards the production. அவங்களுக்கு வந்து அந்த 2 மாசம் அப்படிங்கிறது வந்து அந்த 2 மாசத்தை வரக்கூடிய அவங்க ப்ராஃபிட்டை தான் பாக்குறாங்க. நான் எப்படியும் அந்த டைமுக்குள்ள நான் கொடுக்குற காசை கொடுத்தேன். ஏன்னா வந்து இப்போ நான் 2 மாசத்துல ஸ்கொயர் ஃபீட் நான் பேசுறேன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்க. ஸ்கொயர் ஃபீட்டுக்கு 1500 ரூபாய் அப்படின்னா நான் 1600 ரூபாய் கொடுக்கறதுக்கு ரெடியா இருக்கேன். எனக்கு 2 மாசத்துக்குள்ள ப்ராஜெக்டை முடிச்சு கொடுங்க. ஏன்னா எனக்கு வந்து அந்த 2 மாசத்துக்குள்ள வரக்கூடிய ப்ராஃபிட்டை தான் அவங்க பாக்குறாங்க. நான் வந்து இப்ப முன்னாடி சொன்ன மாதிரி அந்த நிட்டிங் யூனிட்ல அவங்க வந்து இன்னொரு இடத்துல வச்சிருக்காங்க. அந்த இடத்த காலி பண்ணிட்டு இங்க வர்றாங்க. they have only 2 months time. ஏன்னா இது அவங்களோட சொந்த இடம். ஏன்னா இன்னொரு இடத்துல கொண்டு போய் வச்சு திரும்ப அங்கிருந்து இங்க டிரான்ஸ்போர்ட் பண்ற காஸ்ட் எல்லாம் இட் இஸ் அன்இமேஜினபிள். ஏன்னா 60000 ஸ்கொயர் ஃபீட்டுக்கு அவ்வளவு பெரிய யூனிட் வச்சிருக்காங்க. அதனால வந்து அந்த 2 மாசத்துக்குள்ள அந்த ப்ராஜெக்ட் முடிச்சே ஆகணும். அவ்வளவுதான். நான் அதுக்காக நான் எவ்வளவு வேணாலும் கொடுக்கறதுக்கு தயாரா இருக்கேன் அப்படின்னு அவங்க அந்த கான்செப்ட்ல வரும்போது யூ கேன் இம்ப்ளிமெண்ட் தோஸ் கன்ஸ்ட்ரக்ஷன் ஐடியாலஜிஸ், லைக் கேன் இம்ப்ளிமெண்ட் தோஸ் கன்ஸ்ட்ரக்ஷன் மெத்தடாலஜிஸ் இன் சச் ப்ராஜெக்ட்ஸ்.
சார், அது நீங்க கிளையன்ட் பேஸ்ட் வியூல சொல்றீங்க சார். இப்போ நம்ம வந்து கன்ஸ்ட்ரக்ஷன் கம்பெனி வச்சிருக்கோம்னா இப்போ நம்ம இந்த இன்ஸ்ட்ருமெண்ட்ஸ் வாங்கும்போது நம்மளோட இன்வெஸ்ட்மெண்ட்டும் நம்மளோட இதுவும் அதிகமா இருக்கும்ல. அண்ட் நீங்க ஒன்ஸ் இந்த மிஷின்ஸ் வாங்கினதுமா காஸ்ட் ஆஃப் மெயின்டெனன்ஸ் வில் பி ஹை தானே
சார்? கண்டிப்பாங்க சார். இப்ப நான் சொல்றது எல்லாமே வந்து ஓரளவுக்கு மீடியமா, இப்ப நாங்க பண்றது எல்லாமே ஒரு 100 crores, ஒரு 80 to 90 crores அது மாதிரி ப்ராஜெக்ட்ஸ் பண்றோம். If you are going for a budget house, நீங்க வந்து ஒரு மீடியம் கன்ஸ்ட்ரக்டர் அப்படின்னா சின்ன சின்ன ப்ராஜெக்ட்ஸ்ல இருக்கிறது சின்ன சின்ன மிஷின்ஸ் நீங்க யூஸ் பண்ணலாம். அந்த செல்ஃப் லர்னிங் மோட்டார் அப்படிங்கறதெல்லாம் வந்து இட் will cost around 60,000 rupees தாங்க சார்.
ஓகே சார்.
அது பாத்தீங்க அப்படின்னா நீங்க நார்மலா எல்லா சைட்லயுமே நீங்க யூஸ் பண்ணலாம். அவங்க யார் ப்ரொவைட் பண்றாங்களோ அவங்களே வந்து ஆன் சைட் மெயின்டெனன்ஸும் தர்றாங்க. இப்போ வந்து லேபர், இப்ப நீங்க முன்னாடியே சொன்ன மாதிரி நான் வந்து ஹிந்திக்காரங்க எல்லாருமே அவங்க சொந்த ஊருக்கு போறக்கு ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டாங்க. எப்ப வர்றாங்கன்னு திரும்ப சொல்ல முடியாது. ஏன்னா இப்ப நாங்க கூட நேற்று மார்னிங் நாங்க ஒரு மீட்டிங் அட்டென்ட் பண்ணியிருந்தோம். இந்த 40 நாள் ப்ராஜெக்டை ஸ்டாப் பண்ணி வச்சிருந்தோம் சார். அவங்க வந்து இந்த 40 நாள்ங்கிறது வந்து அவங்க அதே 40 நாள் தான் எக்ஸ்டெண்ட் பண்ணி தரேன் அப்படின்னு சொல்றாங்க. The client wants to complete what is left. இந்த 40 நாள் தான் உங்களுக்கு போச்சு, அதே 40 நாள் தான் நான் உங்களுக்கு தருவேன் அப்படின்னு சொல்றாங்க. எங்களுக்கு வந்து இப்ப லேபர் இல்ல. ஏன்னா நாங்க வந்து கிட்டத்தட்ட 1200 ஹிந்தி மேசன்ஸ் வச்சு வேலை செஞ்சுட்டு இருந்தோம். கிட்டத்தட்ட 22 சைட்ல 1200 ஹிந்தி மேசன் இருக்காங்க. இப்ப பாத்தீங்க அப்படின்னா என்கிட்ட 400 மேசன் தான் இருக்காங்க. நான் இப்ப வந்து அந்த 400 மேசனை வச்சுட்டு அந்த 40 நாள்ல எப்படி நான் ப்ராஜெக்ட முடிச்சு தர்றது அப்படிங்கறதான். சோ இப்ப மிஷின்ஸ் இருந்தது அப்படின்னா ஆல்டர்னேட்டா மிஷின்ஸ் இருந்தது அப்படிங்கிற பட்சத்துல இட் இஸ் ஹைலி இம்பாசிபிள் சார். நாங்க வந்து 60 to 65 days கேட்டிருந்தோம். இப்ப இது மாதிரி வரும்போது இந்த மிஷின்ஸ் கண்டிப்பா யூஸ் ஆகும் அப்படிங்கறதா நம்ம கான்செப்ட்.
ஓகே சார். Thank you sir.
Okay sir.
Participants, if you having any doubt regarding the construction practices in the site, you can ask our speaker. Participants, if you have any doubt, you can ask our speaker.
Good evening, sir.
Sir, good evening.
Sir, I'm Dr. Lavanya, Civil HOD, sir, Head of Department.
Sorry.
I'm sorry I didn't join in the starting of the session because I had a meeting at college.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
We are all working. We are going to the college now.
Okay, ma'am.
Dayachandran sir, is the question answer session over?
No, ma'am. Just now it is started, ma'am. few more questions are there in the comment section. Sir, shall I ask?
Yes, sir. You can go ahead.
And what is the approximate range of current market price per square feet?
Sir, it is around. So if you are going for an high range bungalows, we always would prefer for an item rate, sir. If you are going for an industrial buildings, so pre-engineered buildings will be around 700 to 750 rupees. If you are going for a concrete structure, it will be around 1,600 rupees, sir.
And another question, sir.
Yes, sir.
From Gokul Krishnan.
Okay.
For PEB structure,
yes, sir.
If you are having EOT cranes in curved path, what provisions should be made for that?
Come again, sir. I cannot understand it.
For PEB structures.
Yes, sir. Pre-engineered buildings.
Yes, buildings. To use EOT cranes in curved path, what will be the provision?
Okay, sir. I do not know that. I cannot get that, sir.
Actually, I could not also understand that question. I think it is not in frame. I think he is having a doubt in cranes to be used in a PEB structure.
Okay. So that is, he is asking sir, it cannot be used in pre-engineered structure, sir. Sir, he is asking that cantilever girders can be used for pre-engineered structures. It cannot be used if you are some of the buildings what we did. அதாவது வந்து அந்த cantilever girder pre-engineered structuresல யூஸ் பண்ண முடியுமா அப்படின்னு கேட்டிருக்காருங்க. லைக் நான் அப்படின்னு நினைக்கிறேன். வந்து நாங்க செஞ்ச ஒரு பில்டிங்ல பாத்தீங்க அப்படின்னா அவங்களுக்கு ஆல்ரெடி அங்க உள்ள cantilever girder தேவைப்படுதுங்க. அதனால நாங்க என்ன பண்ணோம், cantilever girder எங்களுக்கு தகுந்த மாதிரி ஃபர்ஸ்ட் இனிஷியலா செட் பண்ணி அதை முன்னாடி எரெக்ட் பண்ணிட்டோம். அதுக்கு அடுத்தது வந்து அவங்களுக்கு தகுந்த மாதிரி அந்த cantilever girderோட பொசிஷனை மாத்திட்டாங்க. ஸோ அதை தான் பண்ண முடியும். cantilever girders cannot be used for pre-engineered structures unless and until அவங்களுக்கு அது தேவைப்படுற வரைக்கும் client. It may not be conventional.
Thank you, sir. One more question from Mrs. Durga Lakshmi, Wales University.
சொல்லுங்க சார்.
And she have asked the question about mortar spraying machine.
Okay.
And it costs about 2 lakh rupees. What will be the efficiency compared with human?
When comparing to human, so we அதோட காஸ்ட்டை பார்க்கணும், நெக்ஸ்ட் வந்து அதோட குவாலிட்டியும் பார்க்கணும் அப்படின்னு சொல்றாங்க சார். காஸ்ட் மட்டும் உங்களுக்கு எல்லா டைமையும் யூ கேனாட் சாட்டிஸ்ஃபை யுவர் செல்ஃப். ஸோ குவாலிட்டி ஹேஸ் ஆல்சோ டு பி சாட்டிஸ்ஃபைடு. அவங்க எதுக்கு அந்த பெயிண்டிங்காக கேட்குறாங்களா இல்லை மார்ட்டர் பெயிண்டிங்?
மார்ட்டர் சார், மார்ட்டர். தே ஆஸ்க் ஃபார் மார்ட்டர்.
இப்போ வந்து எக்ஸ்ப்ரொபல்ஷன் இதெல்லாம் வந்துருக்கு, கம்ப்ரஸர்லாம் வந்துருக்கு. இதில் என்ன பண்ணுவாங்க அப்படின்னா, நாங்க வந்து ஒரு சைட்ல பார்த்தோம், பட் வி கேனாட், நாங்க இதை யூஸ் பண்ணல, ஐ டு நாட் நோ மோர் அபவுட் இட். நாங்க என்ன பார்த்தோம் அப்படின்னா, எக்ஸ்ப்ரொபோர்ஷன்ல அந்த மோட்டார் போய் அந்த செவுத்துல அடிக்குது. ஃபினிஷிங் எல்லாமே ஹியூமன்ஸ் தான் பண்ணிட்டு வராங்க. ஸோ ஏன் அப்படின்னா எட்ஜஸ் எல்லாமே வந்து அந்த மிஷின்ஸ்னால கம்ப்ளீட்டா ஃபினிஷ் பண்ண முடியாது. இப்போ இருக்கக்கூடிய அவைலபிளா இருக்கக்கூடிய டெக்னாலஜில எட்ஜஸ் வந்து அந்த அளவுக்கு ஃபினிஷிங் கிடைக்கிறது இல்லை. அதனால அந்த கலவையை தூக்கி செவுத்துல அடிக்கிற வரைக்கும் the jet propulsion machine is doing this. Jet propulsion compressor is doing this. finishing எல்லாமே மேனுவலா தான் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம்.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your valuable answer.
Sir, shall I ask one question, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Sir, now after this COVID, after this lockdown, the infrastructure mostly now most of the companies are starting to work from home.
Yes.
In that situation, what are the challenges this infrastructure industry will be facing, and is there any plans for changes in the facilities or in the construction site after COVID?
Sure. Ma'am, first, government is not allowing to start the work with full-fledged. 1500 பேர் வேலை செய்யற இடத்துல வந்து 1500 பேரும் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணவே முடியாது, வழியே இல்லை அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டாங்க. அது மாதிரி இடத்துல ஆஃப்டர் கம்ப்ளீட்டா இன்ஸ்பெக்ஷன்லாம் முடிஞ்சதுக்கு அப்புறம், இப்போ நாங்க வந்து கோயம்புத்தூர்ல சின்ன சைட் ஒன்று ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணியிருந்தோம். ஸோ இட் இஸ் அண்டர் எக்ஸிகியூஷன். அந்த இடத்துல கண்டிப்பா 4 பேர் 5 பேர் கண்டிப்பா இருந்துதான் ஆகணும், ஒரு கும்பலா இருந்துதான் ஆகணும். இன்ஸ்பெக்ஷன் வந்தாங்க, we were not allowed to start the work. So in such conditions we are அந்த இடத்துல வந்து மிஷினரிஸ் யூஸ் பண்ற தவிர வேற வழியே இல்லை. ஸோ அட்வான்ஸ் மிஷினரிஸ் எல்லாமே இந்த டைம்ல கண்டிப்பா சைனாவோ இல்ல ஏதாவது ஒரு மிகப்பெரிய அந்த மிஷினரிஸ் ஓரியன்டட் கம்பெனிஸ் எல்லாமே இந்தியாவை வந்து கண்டிப்பா டார்கெட் பண்ணுவாங்க டு பிரிங் தோஸ் டெவலப்பிங் மிஷின்ஸ் இன் டு அஸ். ஏன்னா ஹியூமன்ஸ் வந்து பக்கத்துல இருந்து ஒர்க் பண்ணக்கூடாது அப்படின்னு சொல்றதுல there is no other option than going for missions. நேற்று ஈவினிங் வந்து சைட்டுக்குள்ள ட்ரெயின்ஸ் தோன்ற மாதிரி ஒரு மிஷினுக்கு they brought a catalog to start those. சைட்டுக்குள்ளே கிட்டத்தட்ட எங்களுக்கு வந்து அந்த எலக்ட்ரிக்கல் லைன் கொண்டு போறதுக்கு 160 அடிக்கு லைன் கொண்டு தோணும். ஸோ we do not have enough manual labor. ஸோ இந்த டைமுக்கு மார்க்கெட்டிங் மேனேஜர் கேம் டு. அதாவது வந்து அந்த டைம் வந்து ஒரு மார்க்கெட்டிங் மேனேஜர் நேற்று ஈவினிங் வந்து எங்க சைட்டை பார்த்தாரு. 160 அடிக்கு got a catalog in which there is a machine that can go for a trenching work. இது மாதிரி வந்து நம்ம இடத்துக்கு தகுந்த மாதிரி மிஷின் ஆல்ரெடி இண்டஸ்ட்ரியில இருக்கு. ஸோ நாங்க வந்து போன தடவை எக்ஸிகான் சொல்லிட்டு பெங்களூர்ல வருஷம் 2 to 3 இயர்ஸ்க்கு ஒன்ஸ் வந்து விட்டு கேட்குறேன்.
எஸ் சார்
மேம், எக்ஸிகான் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு பெங்களூர்ல தேர் வில் பி an expo. ஸோ அந்த டைம்ல நீங்க உள்ள போய் பாத்தீங்க அப்படின்னா, ஸோ நம்ம செய்யற சின்ன வேலைக்கும் ஆகர் போரிங் ஆகட்டும், சின்ன வேலைக்கு தேர் இஸ் an advanced மிஷின். இன்னும் இண்டஸ்ட்ரி நம்ம திருப்பூர் ஆகட்டும் கோயம்புத்தூர் ஆகட்டும், ஐ டோன்ட் அபவுட் சென்னை, திருப்பூர் கோயம்புத்தூர் எல்லாம் இட் இஸ் நாட், எங்களுக்கு அவ்வளவா அதுல தெரியல. அந்த ஒன்ஸ் அந்த கோயம்புத்தூர் அந்த பெங்களூர்ல நாங்க போய் பார்த்ததுக்கு அப்புறம் இதுக்கெல்லாம் மிஷின் இருக்கா அப்படின்னு சொல்ற அளவுக்குலாம் மிஷின்ஸ் இருக்கு. So it will be an greatest opportunity for those mission manufacturing companies to venture in India.
So more of automation is expected.
Kandipa madam, kandipa.
Okay. And that is for the construction side. Yes, and how will be the infrastructure space utilization will be, sir?
Like cannot understand.
Because mostly it is a work from home. What will happen to this IT parks like that? Will there be a construction like this again, or they will be having other challenges to reduce the workspace? Because mostly all these companies are at the work from home, no? TCS has said 75% are work from home.
Okay.
All these IT parks only major infrastructure industries facing, no, than the construction side.
Yes, ma'am. But concerning to Tirupur and Coimbatore, it is service. It is manufacturing oriented sites.
Okay, that will go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. You cannot always go and work from home like if you are producing
in manufacture industry, we can't do like that.
Do that, yes, ma'am. So in that sectors we may increase, since முன்னாடி சொன்ன மாதிரி America is going to plan huge manufacturing unit in India. So we are having a bright future. So America is saying that the only problem with India is that land acquisition plus water plus fastest construction technologies that has to be employed. You know, they cannot wait for 5 years for us to complete the project and then start the manufacturing unit.
So more prefabrication will be utilized.
Sure, ma'am. Sure.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
And thank you for sparing your valuable time to come to our webinar and give a very useful presentation. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
I'm very sorry I have not joined in the starting.
No problem.
Please bear with us, sir. And I thank all the participants who have been participating for all these 7 days. Hope this session is very useful to you, to all of you. And this gives us motivation to do further. And in the short notice, we are arranging another webinar on MEP services, which is scope for so starting the webinar by 21st of May, that is day after tomorrow. Please register for that. You can also utilize this lockdown period for updating yourself in the MEP also. I once again thank all the participants, and on behalf of Civil Engineering Department, Easwari Engineering College, thank you all. And please join us for the other activities what we are doing. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for spending your valuable time, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Vishnu, sir, thank you very much.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Dayachandran, sir, please. Sir, next webinar is starting, sir. Dayachandran, sir, workshop is starting for the 3D printing. Dayachandran,
yes,
sir.
Yes, ma'am. I can hear you. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm leaving, sir, right now.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. We will take
Please
care.
take the feedback and send to me later.
Okay, ma'am.
Because the next workshop is by 5:30. They are waiting.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
Daya sir.
Sir, சொல்லுங்க சார்.
Daya sir. I will say some 2 words or 2 minutes regarding this conference. No problem.
Yes, sir. So before that, I want to thank our guest, sir, so that he may leave.
Okay, no problem. Let that people see the poster. No problem. Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
This session was the last session of our 7-day series, and we had all the days, that is 13 sessions we had in different topics in our civil engineering field, which have covered for the knowledge of our faculty as well as for idea grooming for the students also. I think these various sectors and various topics will increases their idea in their future. Because many of us doesn't know about the AI, how AI is used in construction, and lot of missionaries we doesn't know how and where, when they are will be using in infrastructure development, we doesn't know. So these distinctive types and distinctive topics may give a little idea or a little knowledge about the infrastructure in all over the world, so that in forthcoming years, in future, for our next generation, 3rd year, final year and ME students will get an idea, and they can able to understand the things happening in the site, so that it will be a little bit familiar for them to handle inside the our civil engineering field, I think so. So I want to thank our management, Easwari Engineering College, who have given a lot of supports through this, and our HOD madam and our faculties. They gave a tremendous support in all the 7 days. And I want to thank our organizer, Madam Jyoti Lakshmi Madam, who have organized this particular 7-day webinar series. And Madam have consulted a lot of experts in this field, and she brought all of them to be available in the sessions. I think I want to thank them. And few more, and 2 more people are there. That is a very important thing. That is our students. 2 students have contributed a lot of work. One is Mr. Ajmal and another is Mr. Lokesh. They have given a lot of work. They will be working for night 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock for this webinar series. I want to thank them. And beyond this, the participants, you people have given a lot of support for the last 7 days. Every day and every session we got 200, 210, 230, 180, 190 like that, so that the neat room had got fulfilled in all the sessions. So I expect the same thing. You people will be giving the support for our programs, which are going to be conducted day by day in the various topics, and the various organizers will be taking care of it. I want to thank all of you, and I hand over this session to Mr. Dr. Gopalakrishnan sir, and sir will be taking a few more words about this session. Thank you.
Good evening to all. Good evening to all faculty members and the students. We are conducting a national web conference on advances in civil engineering for sustainable environment. We are inviting papers and abstracts up to 23rd May, and you can attend the conference also. There is no fees for attending the conference, free of cost. There is no charges. 3 eminent speakers, Dr. Madhusandanam from IIT Madras, Dr. Mahendra Kumar Madhavan and Dr. Janardhanan from NITTR as expected for the keynote speakers for the conference. Morning session, you can attend the program. After, there will be a presentation for the paper submission people. All the people can attend the conference with free of cost. Those who are submitting, they also get the presentation, that is the PPT presentation certificate will be there. Those who are attending, they will get the attending certificate. So we'll have the morning session completely, 3 people will be keynote speakers. Afternoon session with the presentation of the people, those people who are submitting the abstracts and papers. All papers will be published in ISBN with the free of cost, no charges. Those people want to publish in the Scopus journals, they can publish with some extra charges. So you can note down the mail IDs, the numbers, and I'm expecting all the people to attend the conference. Thank you.
Sir, Gopalakrishnan sir.
Thank you.
The
Sir.
slide,
Thank you,
the
sir.
slide, sir, the slide is not visible clearly because the letters are small. If possible, you can give a link in message, sir.
Okay, sir, no problem. Yeah, I will link. Link I will give you now. Okay. Possible, I will give the link.